Okay, so I made a little video about a week ago about my initial thoughts and review of Sunrise on the Reaping, and in that review, I gave it a pretty glowing review. I mean, I rated it 4 stars. I only came up with one fault, and I was saying it's not that big of a deal, don't worry about it. But things have changed. I've been thinking about it a little bit more, and I watched a video. I don't even know what the video was titled or anything. I'll link it in the description, but I watched this video, and I don't know. I think I might have been wrong. I think it might actually be kind of a big deal because this book has a lot of faults and I didn't realize when I first read it. But I don't know, I think it might not actually be as good as I thought it was, or as good as people on TikTok think it is. I don't know. I just want to preface by saying that critically analyzing books and like critiquing them and stuff, that is, I think, a badge of merit for the book because people don't take the time to critique and critically analyze crappy books. You know what I mean? If it's not a good book, that's already established. People don't need to make videos about why it's not a good book or what it could have done better because it's just not worth analyzing. By making this video, I feel like I am giving Sunrise on the Reaping a little bit of credit, a little bit of merit. So I just want to say I don't hate it. I don't think that Suzanne Collins is dumb. I'm just saying it could have been better. What I'm saying is Suzanne could have done better. And that's not a bad thing. Okay? I think we should expect better from authors and from artists. I just want to say that. This isn't hatred. Okay, this is coming from a place of peace and love and critical thought. So yeah. This does have spoilers, by the way, so don't watch this if you don't want spoilers. The thing is, the plot doesn't make any goddamn sense. Okay? The whole thing, so Haymitch goes to the games, obviously. Easy. Alright. Then, he's tasked by Beanie, for some reason, Beanie is in this book, and he tasks Haymitch with flooding the underground part of the arena to mess with the computer. First of all, that doesn't make any sense. Why is Beanie talking to Haymitch about the rebellion? They don't know each other. It doesn't make any sense. Also, what is the goal of that? Okay, it's gonna flood the arena, then what? Then what? Like, hello? So the arena glitches out and they still have to kill each other and die? I mean, like, nothing is gonna come of this. If there was something that was gonna happen, like in the 75th games in Catching Fire, they already had, District 13 lined up to take all the victors and do the rebellion thing. If that was already lined up, why are we using this random kid? Why do we trust him with these skills? And why does it take 25 more years for it to happen if they already have anything lined up? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I don't know, the whole thing doesn't make sense. Like, how would this have achieved anything? I understand that the book is kind of about implicit submission and fighting back even if, you don't think you're going to win necessarily. But just because it goes with the theme doesn't mean it makes sense. Then, after he doesn't succeed with flooding the arena, it glitches, but it's not completely broken. Then, Haymitch is going to find the generator and he's going to try to break that. Who thought that was going to work? What's the point? What's the point? The whole thing in Catching Fire, when he says, when it talks about his games and it makes it seem like he's just trying to leave the arena, trying to find the end, I feel like that makes more sense than this. It feels like Suzanne Collins made this plot to fit, to like jam it into what happened in Catching Fire and try to make it make sense when in reality it doesn't really line up. Whatever. The point is, Haymitch should have died 50 times. There's no reason why he shouldn't have died. He should have died when he went to go flood the arena. When he was in those levels, he should have never escaped that. He should have died when he left. I don't understand why the game makers wouldn't send Mutz after him. They sent Mutz after, I don't know, the Ampert. They sent Mutz after Ampert. They sent Mutz after other people who went against the game makers, so why wouldn't they send them against Haymitch, who started all of this in the first place? That doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't they kill him? You rebel, you get killed. That's the whole thing with the Capitol. That's the whole thing with the Hunger Games. Why would he stay alive? I understand why, after he's already won, why he would stay alive, because, you know, he's a victor, he's a celebrity, they can't just kill him. But it makes more sense, I think, to just kill him now while he's in the arena, just like they're killing everyone else. Again, I feel like that was just jammed in so that he would be the victor. Then he also takes on the careers 3-on-1 and wins. He wins. What? That doesn't make any sense. The careers have been training for the Hunger Games since birth, and you're telling me this guy who doesn't know the first thing about fighting or anything, all he does is lift sacks of grain. That's his excuse, is that he's lifted sacks of grain to make white liquor, and so now he's strong and he can kill people. In what world? In what world? It would have made sense, like Katniss, she wins because she's smart, she climbed out that tree, she dropped the tracker jackers, she knows how to hunt, she knows how to shoot a bow. But Haymitch has none of that. He wasn't acting based on intelligence. He didn't win that fight for any reason. He didn't do anything special. He just won because of plot armor and because he's the victor, and this is a prequel, so he has to win, but there's no real reason given as to why he would have won. He just does because plot armor. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. And then for another thing, he's mentored by Mags and Wiress, and they're involved in this little rebellion scheme. And the Capitol knows that they're involved because they get tortured afterwards. Why wouldn't they get killed? That doesn't make any sense. At least Mags. I understand, I mean, Wiress is young. She just won last year, so it would be kind of suspicious if they died. But Mags is like 70 at this point. It would be pretty normal if she died. You could kill her. Or if people know that there was some sort of rebellion, they make it clear, and then they use Mags and Wiress as examples as to why you shouldn't rebel. So it would be okay to kill them publicly. I mean, Seneca Crane gets killed publicly for what he did. You know, the parade master in this book gets killed. It doesn't really look like an accident. Like, it would make more sense to me if the Capitol just killed Mags and Wiress instead of just punishing them. There's no reason why they should live. I'm just saying, if I was a tyrannical government, someone rebelled against me like that, I'd kill them. Why wouldn't you kill them? Instead, you just let them live on as victors, and eventually they do use the rebellion to overthrow you. That's stupid. The Capitol isn't stupid. The Capitol is smart. But the real question is, why do so many people have cameos in the first place? Beanie. Why is he there at the potato station? Why is he talking to Haymitch and telling him about the rebellion? Okay, whatever. That's fine. Just one person. I'll let it be. Mags and Wiress are his what's it called? His mentors? Aren't there 50 other victors that they could have chosen from? And it happens to be Mags and Wiress. That's, oh my gosh, like whatever. It's just like, I don't know. And then Effie Trinket makes a cameo. It's just, I mean, a few people, it makes sense. But when it gets to 50 people from the original trilogy and from the prequel or coming into this book, it's like, I don't know, it just feels forced. And it feels like Suzanne Collins just wants to add people for the sake of it and for the sake of seeing people on TikTok going, oh my god, the fact that Mags and Wiress were Haymitch's mentors and then Katniss chooses Mags and Wiress to be her allies, like, it feels like that's the only reason it's written, because it doesn't make any sense besides that. It doesn't add anything besides that. And another thing, Katniss's dad is Haymitch's best friend. In what world? That, I don't know. Why wouldn't he have ever mentioned that to Katniss, whether it's before the games start, the first ones, or after she wins, or at, I don't know, any point in time ever, he would have mentioned, hey, by the way, me and your dad were best friends when we were kids. You don't think that would be like a cool detail? I don't know. And I don't know, one thing that the girl was saying in the video I watched is that it takes away from their bond. And I think it does, because it makes it seem like Haymitch was always destined to like Katniss. And I don't know, like, but the thing is Haymitch is like traumatized by all the tributes that he's mentored being killed over and over again. So he just checks out by the time Peeta and Katniss are there. And then the only reason he checks back in for them is because he sees that they're like fighters, you know, because they slam the knives down or whatever happens. The point is he sees that they're fighters. That's why he likes them. And he sees himself in Katniss. That's why he likes her specifically. It's not because his childhood best friend was her dad. I feel like that makes it seem like it was always fated. And it wasn't fated. It just happened because they have a bond. I don't know. The fact making it seem like it was fate does kind of take away from it. And it just doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't he ever mention that? Whatever. And Lenore Dove's character, I mean, I like her, but she is kind of just exactly the same as Lucy Gray. What's the difference? Spot the difference. You can't. You can't spot the difference. The only difference is that Lenore Dove has geese. Okay? And like, she's just a manic pixie dream girl, which is fine. I love a manic pixie dream girl. I don't have anything against it. But, I don't know. She doesn't have much of a character. Which is fine because she's not even in the plot that much, but it would have been nice. The fact that Snow talks to Haymitch about Lucy Gray. In what world? Why would the president of Panem, this like dictator, be talking to some random tribute about his ex-girlfriend from 50 years ago, 40 years ago? Why would he do that? Why is he talking to them like they're buds? Why is he letting him see him at his lowest when he's been poisoned? Why would he do that? The only reason he would do that is because this is a prequel and Suzanne Collins wants to put like funny little, oh ha, isn't it funny that Snow is talking about Lucy Gray? Like isn't that cool? Because you read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and you're like, oh my god, this is so crazy. But it's not, it is crazy. It's crazy that this would be happening because it doesn't make sense. It's not logical. And then when, this is one thing I kind of liked, but I kind of didn't like, when after Haymitch wins, but before Lenore Dove gets killed and whatever, he sees the tape of Lucy Gray singing the Ballad of Lucy Gray Baird, which I do kind of like because it's like a threat to him, you know, like this is what's gonna happen to Lenore Dove, you know, whatever. But also, why does that tape even exist? Because I thought they were getting rid of all records of the 10th Hunger Games. I don't know. I did kind of like it. And one thing is that Haymitch doesn't really have any character. It's just not the same guy that's in the trilogy. He has no sass. He has, I don't know, no sarcasm, no nothing. He's just a nice guy. And I like a nice guy, but he's not really like anything. There's nothing to him. Things just happen to him and he reacts. He doesn't really do anything or have anything, I don't know, just unique about his internal monologue. I feel like Katniss, she definitely has a character, you know. She's a hunter and she's just trying to survive, and she's very I don't know, she's a really good sense of, oh my god, what's the word? Oh, self-preservation. She has a huge sense of self-preservation. She loves her family. I don't know what Haymitch's values are besides he loves his girlfriend and he brews white liquor illegally. That's really all that's to him, and he's a really nice guy. Okay? There's just not that much more. I don't know. It just all connects so nicely. And I don't like it. I feel like it just has a lot of prequel cliches. I think Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes did it much better because it wasn't trying to make people in book talk impressed with how cool that was. It just did that because it was cool. But Sunrise on the Reaping isn't actually cool. It's just a bunch of random, like, oh, fun fact, Mags and Iris were Hamish's tribute, or Hamish's mentors, you know? It's just random. It's like, okay, and I don't know, it doesn't really add that much, whereas Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes added a lot of detail and it had something to say. The whole point is, I think this book was rushed or it was a cash grab, but I really hope it wasn't a cash grab because that just kind of goes against everything the Hunger Games stands for. So I'm gonna stay away from that. I'm just gonna say that it was rushed and that maybe Suzanne Collins got too caught up. I don't know. It feels like what I was saying earlier, like it's not written for the value of the plot or for the themes even. It's written for TikTok to react to it and think, wow, that's so cool. Because people are saying that. That's all my reels are. I think that with a little bit more developing, or maybe even at a different point in Hamish's life, the themes would have shown through better and been less on the nose, and it just would have been more cohesive as its own book instead of just a prequel. Yeah, those are my thoughts. Please don't hate me. Let me know what you think, because I'm really having a dilemma about this, because I really want to like the book. I don't know, I'm a big Hunger Games fan. I went to the midnight release party. I want to like this book. I'm not a hater, okay? I mean, I am a hater of some things, but not of the Hunger Games. Of the Hunger Games, I am not. I want to like it. So, yeah, these are just some thoughts I've been having today, and I had to get them out.